What's going on, everybody? Rob, aka Robbie Diesel here, and I just wanted to jump in for a really brief intro for this interview that I just conducted with the homie, Mr. TJ Sterling, and Mr. Newton Lilavois, who collaborated together on a brand new cyberpunk noir graphic novel entitled Villainus. Villainus is the story of Shatter, an anti-hero whose only goal is to take the system down at any cost. From what I've read and from what I've been told about this graphic novel is definitely something that you do not want to miss. Make sure after you check out the interview, of course, that you support the Kickstarter. It'll be running now through the middle of March, so make sure that you check it out. The links to support the project are in the description down below. Thank you so very much to TJ and Newton for talking with the kid, and I hope y'all enjoy this video. So without further ado, let's check it out. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you happen to be catching this very, very special episode of the Curated Culture. I am your gracious, humble host, Rob, aka Robbie Diesel. And as you can see, I have not one, but two very special guests with me today. I got the homie, the one, the only, Mr. TJ Sterling. How we doing tonight, TJ?
Fantastic. Good morning, my neighbors.
Good day to you, sir. And of course, a newcomer, first time on the show, first time actually meeting this gentleman, but I'm super excited to talk to him, Mr. Newton. I'm probably gonna butcher it. I know you told me before, but I'm probably gonna butcher it. Mr. Newton Lilavois.
Yep, that's perfect right there.
Hey, there we go. Newton,
Yeah.
what's the word, man? How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me here. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely, brother. I'm very excited to talk about this. TJ is a good friend of mine. I'm usually always right there whenever he drops a project because I know that there's going to be quality associated with it for sure. I know it's going to have a good story, and he has been real forthcoming about how excited he is to collaborate on this project with you. So my first question for both of you gentlemen is, how did this collaboration come together?
Yeah, so TJ and I have known each other for a couple of years now, at least. We've been to cons together, we've hung out together after cons, so we got a chance to really know each other. And based on the way we conduct business and our creative endeavors, we decided, like, hey, let's do a collaboration. TJ approached me, was like, hey, do you have any story ideas? And so at that time I did, but we started from scratch. We were like, let's come up with a story that both of us would be interested in. And so we sat down and we just first, I think we picked the genre. And then after that, we kind of said, okay, what's the message that we want to get across? And then from there, we took a character that we liked or developed, and then based the story on that. So that's the short version of how it came about.
Right on, TJ.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. I've been a fan of Newton's work and the stuff that he's done with Dream Fury Comics for quite some time, and we just got similar energy, man. I think when I know, Rob, how this works, man. You get in a room with somebody, you just vibe, and that's kind of how it was with me and Rob. Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, me and Rob have known each other since like 2016. So it's been a minute, you know what I mean? When his kids was little, and this little boy was small, and now he's a big dude, you know what I mean? Like
almost big as me.
Yeah. So it's crazy to, just how connection and energy works. And I just felt like Newton and I always had like a synergistic connection in terms of what we like to see created, the quality of our work, the professionalism, and really just the type of stories we like to tell. I think I like to work with people who I'm inspired by. So I was like, yeah, man, like let's use this pandemic time to really create something new, something different. And Newton really wanted to do some sci-fi shit, and I've been already doing sci-fi, but I haven't done anything in the cyberpunk, futuristic space where it's not dystopian future like Okamus, but more like, okay, Neo Tokyo, Akira, Fifth Element type shit, where it's like high high futuristic concepts, floating cars, hover bikes, all that stuff, and robotic enhancements. I've always liked these ideas, and I think that this was just a perfect, storm of just being in the right place, right time, and having the right idea.
Awesome. And that sounds, I checked out the actual Kickstarter campaign, and I'm excited to actually check this out. For you, Newton, how does Villainous differ from any of the other projects that you've worked on previously?
Oh, so the project I'm most known for is Crescent City Monsters, and that's a supernatural horror story. And currently I'm working on Keisha the Demon Eater, another supernatural horror story. So you can see right off the bat that that was my genre. Now I'm in the sci-fi genre with Villainous. So that makes it different. But the one thing that still stays consistent is my my natural attraction to just gritty stories, right? So this story is even though it's not supernatural and this is sci-fi, it still has that same grittiness that I like to tell and when I create my worlds and characters.
Absolutely. And we know, all of us know that story is a very crucial, important part of what you do, especially. How long did it take to develop the story behind Villainous, characters, dialogue, things like that?
Took like 2 seconds, right, 2J? Like we had everything down. Like, we just
Spun
had to
around and oh shit, it was already there.
yeah.
Um,
No, it's funny because it's hard to quantify because you could in retrospect you can say we developed the story in I guess maybe like 2 days, right? Because we developed a general idea like within I think a couple of days, right? But we didn't necessarily have the details. We didn't know all the characters and the scenes thing, but we had a general idea. Okay, it's gonna be sci-fi. It's gonna be about this man who's an anti-hero, and the world that he lives in is sort of like a situation where he says, well, what if Trump's ideology is the ideology that carries us onto the future? What if Donald Trump's ideology is what captures the hearts and minds of America in the future? What does that look like? What does that mean to people like us? Where do we fit into society? So that was pretty much locked down within a couple of days. And from there, we just banged out the details.
That already sounds crazy. Like just listening to it, I'm ready. I'm ready to check out the story itself. What about the main character? Was there any extra effort into making sure that he stood out?
Yeah, I mean, when we were talking about the character, and I mean, because first the name, we knew that we wanted to do cyberpunk. We wanted to do neo-futuristic type of setting, but then we started thinking about the character, and I'm like, okay, well, I'd love to do a villain. Like, why not the name Villainous? But that's more of the name of a book and a story versus the name of an actual character. And I think we were, right around the time of the George Floyd incident and all the racial tension that was going on in America. We were really, really, Bolden Newton and I, had a lot of anger, a lot of spite, a lot of frustration going on in our minds and in our spirits about what was happening. We wanted to tell a story from the perspective of someone who's broken. You know what I mean? I think a lot of us as Black men have been broken on lots of different levels. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times it's like picking those pieces, those shattered pieces back up and putting them back together. Or sometimes, what if you don't put them back together? And that's really where the idea of this anti-hero villain character named Shatter comes from. This man who's completely broken, and his idea of kind of making things right is to completely destroy everything. So it's kind of a very interesting concept that we had not even seen in comics. So I start drawing and sketching what I think I might want that character to look like. And I was going more for like Predator, Phantom of the Opera, a little bit dark, and we kind of even wanted his costume to be like very like Lobo-ish, but kind of also like punk rock and metal studs, and what I'm saying, just shoulder pads, things that you just don't normally see a Black character dressed in. So It just kind of took on a life of its own, like very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's super dope, you know, kind of pulling the inspiration from the character from a lot of different genres, because you're right, you don't typically see that, especially within, you know, Black creator space, for sure. Like, it's always this one thing or this one thing, for sure. So I want to switch gears just a little bit and talk about the Kickstarter campaign for Villainus. I know you are no stranger to Kickstarter at all, TJ. You're kind of like Kickstarter genius at this point. I don't know if Newton has had any experience with Kickstarter just yet, but what made you guys make the decision to release that project on Kickstarter instead of just straight to print or straight to the masses?
Yeah, so this is my fifth Kickstarter. I've done 4 others before this one. So that for me is my business model.
Okay.
Before I even print a book, I always do it through Kickstarter, and it's worked out for me from the beginning, because the way I started my previous book, Crescent City Monsters, is it started as a webcomic. People could read it online. I started building the audience from there, and then I launched my first Kickstarter, and I was able to fund the printing for that. And after that, I was able to build my audience after every Kickstarter. The base of my audience grew and grew. So for me, Kickstarter was like a no-brainer. That's what I've been doing from the start.
Right on. So give us a little insider info on the campaign itself. I know we're in what, day 3 so far. How long does it go? What's your goal? What's the ultimate end game for this campaign outside of funding, of course?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting because, like I said, Newton's definitely a vet. I think for me, I've had some, you know, I spent a lot of my time, I guess, kickstarting books and raising capital for books in person at cons and stuff for, you know, years and years before I even did anything online, so fundraising. But I definitely learned a lot from him and other folks that have been doing it for a long, long time. And Kickstarter works really for a lot of different reasons, for the marketability, for the advertising, you know, for connecting with new people, especially out of the country, which is kind of interesting. And you know, it's a really official platform. It's like all the big comic book people use it. So like there's a lot of folks that, you know, they have their eyes on it at all times for new content. And you know, the goal that we have right now is about $11,000. We're about at 8,000 right now. So we're really, really close. And we need your guys' help to, you know, basically bring this thing home, close the campaign out strong within the next 19 or so days. We got 19 days left on this campaign. And what we're going to basically be doing with that money is printing the book. And it's a 3-page, I'm sorry, it's not a 3-page. It's a 3 issue collected edition of a graphic novel. So 3 comics sandwiched into one. It is an 80 plus page graphic novel. And what is it called? You're getting all 3 books at once. So instead of just getting one book, you know, in a series, which is kind of what I've been known to give people before, just one book, you can get an entire volume within the very first offering. And you can also get access to Newton's books and then my books, X, Y, and Z. And what else was I going to say? So we're going to print it. We're also going to try to pay our artist for the next issues that we want to do in the future. You know, volume 2, which would be issue 4, 5, and 6 in a collected edition.
Right. That's dope,
Yeah,
man. Go ahead, Newt.
Yeah, and it's really important to point that out too, because a lot of people, when they see us do a Kickstarter and we raise this huge amount of money, you know, sometimes they ask where that money is going to, right? A part of it, of course, is going to printing, but a big part of it, like TJ says, goes to paying the artists. Because you know, as creators ourselves, there's so much financially that we could put on our backs to help create. So the sooner that we have the funds to keep paying the creators, the sooner and quicker we put out these books, you know. So that's one of the main benefits of getting funded through Kickstarter, because you get this bulk of money up front, and you can continue paying your artists in the future and run on schedule. That way, you know, we're trying to make sure that the next volume comes out in months as opposed to years. You know.
Right. For sure. As that was
Facts.
another thing that I'm curious about. It sounds like to me the character and the story of Villainous isn't just a one-shot deal. It sounds like you guys got a nice long drawn out story arc for this character, which is I'm interested to see more about this.
Yo,
Yeah, it's gonna be like
man.
3 Bibles thick. That's how.
People don't even realize. I think people realize how dope Volume One is. Like, y'all gonna be really blown away by Volume One artwork already, but the ideas, the plans that we have for Volume Two, the amount of action, the amount of suspense, the amount of mayhem that you guys are going to see happen is really going to be crazy. And also, what's really dope about Villainous is that it's told because there's two people writing it. I think what people are may have a misconception is that okay, TJ is typically the artist, so he's probably drawing something new. He's the writer, he's writing something, but we actually co-wrote this book together. So we both took our time to write sections of the story and then kind of combine them like Legos, if you will, at the end of the day to build one solid castle. And yeah, so there's lots of different characters. There's not just Shatter, but there's Major Strom, there's Kanisa Mystery. They're the law enforcement officers that are basically after him. There is the prospects, these young cybernetic kids who are enhanced with all these different robotic parts, but super young and kind of have like an interesting little side story. And then there's also the background, the world itself, this lush cyberpunk world that our artist Salo is really just killing, man. So people gonna like it. I don't even think they've realized that it's one of those things that's so further out there from most cyberpunk books. It's gonna take people a second to be like, oh snap! Like, wait a minute, this is what I needed.
Mhm.
This is that little nugget that's been missing from your life for sure. All right, gentlemen, we are at that point. We're getting close to wrapping up. I want to first thank you both for joining me tonight and talking about your latest project, Villainous. You just gave us a little bit of a synopsis, TJ, but I want to leave the floor open for both of you gentlemen. Go ahead and hit us with your best elevator pitch. Why would your existing supporters, as well as people who are new to your projects, why should they check out Villainous?
Well, first, like TJ says, it's a unique story, and it's from a social messaging standpoint, but we don't bang the message over your head with it, right? It's just part of the story, and you're gonna really feel connected to the main character, Shatter, even though he's an anti-hero and he may come off as a jerk. As time goes on, we're gonna start peeling the layers of the complexity of his character, and it's gonna develop through the story, and just based on that you're going to kind of grow with the character, and you're going to appreciate it, and you're going to see the direction that he takes, because he's going to start off at one point, right? But then he's going to end up in a totally different point than even the character himself realizes. And as he takes that journey, it's something that you're going to enjoy, something that you're going to be able to relate to, especially in these times where things are really frustrating, but and people have this anger about the way the system works. This is a good place to read and kind of like help let go of that anger through that character. Yeah, I think people will just be able to connect to the character and the story.
Yeah, I was going to echo the same thing. Like, Shatter really represents the frustration, the anger, the that like that essence of just being fed up, I'm saying, and wanting to see a change from a corrupt society. And literally he's going to be able to do all the things that we've wanted to do. So he's that character that, like, you're going to be able to live vicariously through him. And who doesn't like a comic book? And I guess elevator pitch is like Villainous, cyberpunk sci-fi noir comic series, collected edition of a graphic novel, three comics in one, over 80 pages, with a really dope pinup gallery, amazing, incredible artwork. If you're a fan of The Fifth Element and Deadpool, you're gonna love this, because it's kind of a marriage of like the world's most craziest anti-hero villain, plus like this super high-end sci-fi. So it's really just a feast, visual feast. It's an interesting story, and you know, you very rarely see a great story told from a villain's point of view. So I think you're really getting something dope with this one for sure.
Absolutely. I'm excited for it. I know I'm going to back the project. I'm going to try. I took a look at some of the rewards that y'all got, and there's some good stuff in there. So I'm going to try and get some of the extras too. I want to back it so I can get all the fixings. Gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining me tonight. Go ahead and throw your socials out there. Where can the people find you? How can they support you? Let us know, please.
Yeah, so before I begin with the social, if they want to support us on the Kickstarter, they can go to villainus.com, villainus.com. So it's spelled a little differently. It's villainus, right, .com. If they want to go support the Kickstarter. You can also check out our Instagram account for Villainus. It's Villainus Comic, same Villainous spelling than the word comic, and on Instagram. And then for my personal Instagram account or just social media, you can always find me at Dream Fury Comics, both in Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook.
I thought you was gonna give me your cell phone number. What happened?
That's 324-5. No, yes, on the socials is
555-616.
Yeah, so Dream Fury spelled DreamFury Comics.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. TJ Sterling. Where can the people find you?
Oh man, you're gonna find me on the corner slinging that. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, it's super easy to find me all at Ray Comics, RAEcomics.com, at Ray Comics on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all of that stuff. Super easy. And but please go to Villainus, man. This is the place to get everything. Get everything Ray Comics related. Get everything Dream Fury Comics related. If you missed Joystick Angels, if you missed an issue of Okemos, if you missed the newest issue of Dream Fury Presents or of Crescent City Monsters, it all lives on this Kickstarter. So you can get all that stuff, which is really, really dope. And, you know, as I said, man, like, you know, there's so many great things to get, but please connect with us. Go to the campaign and back and support, and see y'all on the other side.
Couldn't have said it better myself. You heard it here. Cyberpunk sci-fi noir comic book series with an anti-hero as the main character. I guarantee you, I don't usually do guarantees, but I guarantee you, if you check this out, y'all will love it. We will drop the links to the Kickstarter as well as everybody's social in the description of this show. So make sure that you check it out. Thank you guys so very much for joining me, TJ and Newton. I appreciate you taking the time out to talk about the latest project. Thank you guys out there in the digital metaverse. I guess that's what we're calling it now, for checking this out. Make sure that you hit those links in the description below to support this project. It is it's sounding very exciting. I know I'm going to support it. You should too. Thank you all so very much for catching this episode of The Curated Culture. I am your gracious, humble host, Rob, aka Robbie Diesel, at Robbie Diesel, everywhere, on the tweets, on the Instagrams, on the Snapchats. We're even on TikTok. I know TJ started a TikTok. We got to talk about that at some point in time too. Thank y'all so very much. Thank you so very much for checking this out. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.